Let's begin the coffee chat. This morning, it's just myself and Jeffery Stevens. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Are you well, sir?
I'm good, thank you. So, it's a serious matter that we are facing today. The front page of the Business Day, I think that headline is quite apt. SA's 6 new virus cases, in inverted commas, imported from Europe.
Look, for me, the obvious questions are regarding travel and movement of crowds of people, and the fact that the World Health Organization is uncertain of how you determine a carrier's status, and furthermore, how you determine how the carrier carries or infects another person is hugely concerning as far as this particular virus is concerned. And that, as long as that is the case, the prevention will be very tough to manage, the spread of the virus. So we need to look at the scientists of the world need to come up with 1, 2, 3, 4 steps that each of us can follow so as to avoid contamination.
For me, Jeff, I think the most alarming thing is what was said by one of the experts who was interviewed on this channel last night, and they were saying that in third world countries, if there is a spread, there is going to be difficulty in restricting movement, because it's quite obvious there's a lack of resources and some places are going to be far-flung. It obviously would be easier to restrict movement in the city of Wuhan, for example, because you have people who do not live perhaps in far-flung areas. We speak, you and I, out of complete ignorance, of course. We don't know the makeup of Wuhan, but it is a city nonetheless. Imagine if there is a spread in South Africa. You have far-flung areas in rural settings, but add to that the other element of about 7 million South Africans who are living with HIV. They are the most at risk, and you have those that also have tuberculosis. So these are people most at risk right now.
Yes, certainly. I don't think we understand the severity of this particular virus, and it now being confirmed a global pandemic is hopefully the authorities and the powers that be will step up their efforts to contain the spread of the virus. And we can't wait for much longer for these travel bans to be seriously confirmed by our authorities here. It just makes complete sense for people to stay put within our borders, would limit the risk of the spread, I would think. That's definitely very obvious.
I think it goes without saying, because we now have also 6 confirmed cases, and these are completely brand new, if you like. They have no connection whatsoever to the 10 people who were in Italy, pardon me, on holiday recently. Those people, the virus seems to have circulated among those, and they're the ones who are in isolation. But these people, how do we explain how they got into the country? But anyway, let's move on. Have a look at the Sowetan newspaper. The front page there, it's a devastating story. Mom loses 3 kids in a horror crash. This is the part that gets me. There's a sub-headline there. They all told their mother, quote unquote, "I love you," rather than the usual goodbye.
Yeah, that particular section of the article is heart-wrenching of note. And I mean, if you look at the picture of the kids, it's any parent, any human being will be torn into shreds if this were to happen to them. And for me, it once again places the focus on road safety in our country and the application of the laws and the rules. And that's half of the discussion. The other half of the discussion has to do with people, road users, not sticking to the rules and sticking to the speed limit, for example, which further heightens the risk of these very devastating road accidents. Roadworks are essential to the upkeep of our roads. But those two, I was on my way home yesterday, and I was horrified at someone coming up. I saw the person, the car in my rearview mirror, just in no time, going from that speck in the mirror to this massive, and just an indication of the speed that this motorist was traveling in, so as to get ahead of the truck before we went into the road being worked on, to get past this truck sooner, or whatever the case may be.
Jeff, I'm not sure what Minister Fikile Mbalula is going to do here to curb this carnage that is on our roads. Because remember, the people who died as part of this accident where these 3 children died, I think the total number there was 12. Then you had people who were traveling in a taxi to Mozambique. They got into an accident. A number of people died there. Remember last week, we had the accident in Tsendane, Eastern Cape. People, old people and children on a bus that went down a hill, over 20. And I have an inkling that we might see a memorial service this week of those people. So it's a mess on our roads, and I don't know what it is that has got to be done to sensitize drivers, because it's not just the minister's job, it's the behavior of drivers on the roads. But anyway.
Maybe stiffer penalties or fines, a little bit of, that is certainly one of the considerations that the minister needs to look at.
That might do it. Let's talk about sports. What's happening in the sports pages?
Yes, the Sports Day once again caught my eye this morning. COVID-19 to take shine off Indian, quote, spit balls. Now, for those, just to inform those not in the know as far as, this is part of cricket tactics.
Spitball, is it?
Well, you use your saliva to keep the ball shined, that you use to get a swing out of the ball to hopefully lure the batsman into a mistake. So imagine, just to give you an example, in a match situation, the bowler delivers the ball gets hit over the boundary, a crowd attempts to catch the ball, who has the coronavirus, sends the ball back with his perspiration on the ball, that gets chowed up by the fielder, whose task it is to keep the ball shiny on the one side, and that's how you can contract this virus. There's a risk, and the Proteas camp have said they will stick to this tactic because it is part of the game, and they certainly are not bothered by the possibility of COVID-19 being contracted via that manner. So we'll have to see. First ball due to be bowled in the first ODI between India and South Africa in India, Dharamsala, at 10 a.m. South African time. Let's see how the actual game goes. I'm hoping that the Proteas can lay down a marker as far as the cricket is concerned, and we'll focus on that for this 3-match series.
All right, Jeffrey Stevens, thank you very much. Let's stick with the program.
Yes, we shall.